Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing the battery life on the brand new Motorola Moto G7 Plus. Those of you who have had Motorola phones in the past, you guys know every year Motorola releases a number of phones on the G series. This time around they released 4 phones on the G7 series: the Moto G7, the G7 Plus, the G7 Power, and the G7 Play. Out of those 4 phones, I got 2 here with me, the G7 Plus and the G7 Power with a monstrous 5000 mAh battery. I'll be doing a separate video on this phone very soon, so please do stay tuned. However, in this video we'll be specifically discussing the battery life on the G7 Plus only. This phone has got a 6.2 inches screen, comes with a 3000 mAh battery, Snapdragon 636 along with 4 gigs of RAM. Performance wise, it's been fantastic to me. No lags, no stutters, and no issues with the overall performance as such, so I've been very happy in that department. Okay, so before we start talking about the battery stats, let's have a look and see which version of Android this phone is running. So settings, then into system, about phone, and then we go right way down here, and it's running Android 9, which is Pie, the latest version of Android, which is fantastic. So in my typical fashion, let's get into the photo gallery and have a look and see what screenshots I've been taking for screen on times on the Moto G7 Plus. Okay, so the very first screenshot, you can see I got 5 hours and 56 minutes of screen on time. To be honest, when I had the phone on the first day, I never thought I would be able to get this much screen on time, because the phone only comes with a 3000 mAh battery for a 6.2 inch full HD plus screen. I wasn't that optimistic, but to my surprise, on the very first day, Wi-Fi only, I was able to achieve, like I said, nearly 6 hours of screen on time. Now this usage included over nearly 2 hours of Facebooking, an hour and a half of Chroming, of browsing through photos, WhatsApp, social media, Instagram, and everything else. And to my surprise, like I said, the phone did last me for nearly 6 hours of screen on time. And during this usage, the screen was kept around 60 to 70%. Those of you who follow me, you guys know I never keep the brightness at full. I normally tend to keep it around 60 to 70% as shown in this screenshot. Okay, then whilst I was using the phone in the very first week, I received an update with the 1st of Jan 2019 security patch. It hasn't got the latest April one. Hopefully in the next few weeks we will get a few more updates, but for now it's running the 1st of Jan 2019 security patch level updates. Okay, once again, yet another screenshot. Battery was down to 7%, and I was able to achieve a total of 4 hours and 44 minutes of screen on time. Guys, please remember one thing: whilst using it for the last couple of weeks, my usage has been mixed because I've been out and about a lot and also indoors. So most of screenshots you will see are based on a mixed usage. Wherever there is Wi-Fi only, I will show you and you will see a significant difference in the screen on time, but mostly the phone has been lasting me around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. Here, as you can see, 4 hours and 44 minutes of screen on time. Once again, a typical social media usage: Facebooking for an hour, Instagram for nearly an hour as well, browsing, WhatsApp, photos, and everything else. And like I said, I was able to achieve 4 hours and 44 minutes of screen on time. Mind you, also I did use Viber in those couple of weeks because of work related stuff, and there was a lot of video conferencing and stuff going on, so that did take its toll. But still, the phone had a solid run of around 4.5 to 5 hours, which I did not expect from a 3000 mAh battery. At times when I was out and about, like I said, I also had the brightness all the way up to full. That also has an effect on the battery life as well. Okay, once again, yet another screenshot. You can see an hour of Facebooking and everything else, Instagramming, and I was able to achieve a total of 4 hours and 48 minutes of screen on time. Once again, here the battery was down to 6%, and you can see the brightness was full. And like I said, in most of my usage for the last couple of weeks with the G7 Plus, I've been out and about or the occasional indoor session, and that's why these screen on times are mostly mixed usage of both Wi-Fi and 4G. Okay, once again, yet another screenshot. Over an hour of Facebooking, browsing nearly an hour, Instagramming for half an hour, 32 minutes of voice calls. When I was making phone calls, this speaker is very loud and very crisp and clear. By the way, the phone comes with a Dolby Atmos speakers. You got the front speaker and the bottom firing speaker, so together they create some really nice good sound from the phone. So anyways, so yeah, half an hour of phone calls, everything else camera, and again I was able to achieve 4 hours and 23 minutes of screen on time. Alright, so here the brightness was around 80%, and further going down here, okay, yet another screenshot. 2.5 hours of Facebooking, lots of social media I did on this phone, guys. As you know, I'm a YouTuber, talking to a lot of people, engaging in a lot of social engagements around the world, so plenty of heavy social media usage. Airbnb for 44 minutes, I was booking it for a relative, so I used that app a lot as well. Instagramming, everything else, and eventually I was able to achieve a total of 6 hours and 34 minutes of screen on time. Now this is completely different from what you saw in the previous screenshots, and the reason for that is because this was Wi-Fi only. And if I remember correctly, this was the weekend, I was at home and I was just using Wi-Fi only, and to my surprise, despite keeping the brightness around 80%, still the phone did last me for 6.5 hours of screen on time, which is fantastic. Obviously, once again, down to Snapdragon 636, 4 gigs of RAM, and almost nice vanilla Android with hardly any bloatware. All that adds to a world-class performance from a phone which only has 3000 mAh battery and giving you over 6.5 hours of screen on time. And to be honest, it's a shame for people like Samsung with the Samsung S10. I have never achieved 6 hours despite having a 3400 mAh battery, a much more efficient chipset, and still I know the screen is Quad HD, but still Samsung have been doing Quad HD for a number of years now, and this phone I did expect more. Don't get me wrong, they still last me a day though, but looking at Motorola, looking at the price versus the performance, to be honest, I had expected the S10 to have the 6 hour screen on time, not the Moto G7 Plus. Okay, now going back again, once again here the brightness was around 60%, and then again heavy social media day, 1 hour and 7 minutes of Facebooking, a lot of vibrating, video calling, especially here. Video calls obviously do take their toll on the battery of the phone. An hour of WhatsApping, Instagramming, social media. Eventually I was able to achieve 3 hours and 55 minutes of screen on time, and that was because, like I said, heavy video conferencing on Viber. That will obviously drain the battery on any phone, but if you're using the phone a day-to-day regular stuff like WhatsApping, emailing, Facebooking, Instagramming, taking photos and stuff, the phone on Wi-Fi can last you well over 6 hours without any issues, with mixed usage around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. Here once again I was out and about, that's why I took a screenshot, and you can see the brightness was all the way up to 100%. Once again using Facebook, Viber, WhatsApp, lots of heavy stuff, and eventually once again 5 hours and 19 minutes. Here I did spend more time indoors and less time outdoors, that's why you can see slightly better screen on time than the average we've seen in the previous screenshots. Okay, once again the screenshot taken here for the brightness around 60%, and eventually they're here. As you can see, I took the screenshot because at night time I tend to keep the brightness low because it hurts my eyes, so I will use the phone like any other phone. Like I always say in my battery life videos, guys, when it comes to night time I tend to keep the brightness low. When it comes to daytime I will just increase the brightness as any normal user would. Okay, here I tested the standby time on the Motorola G7 Plus. As you can see, on 13th of April I had the battery at 43%, and when I checked in the morning at 1:09, from 43 it went down to 37%, so not too bad, around 6 to 7% around after 9 to 10 hours, which is not looking too bad. Okay, so once again heavy usage, you can see battery down to 7% after an hour and a half of Facebooking, Chroming, photos, videos, camera, WhatsApping, making phone calls, using Google Maps occasionally as well, and eventually I was able to achieve 4 hours and 28 minutes of screen on time. Once again, mixed usage will get you around 4.5 hours, and Wi-Fi only will get you most likely over 6 hours. Once again, full brightness again. And here I wanted to test with full brightness and indoors during daytime to see how long it would last, and despite putting it all the way up to 100%, like I said, still the phone was able to give me 6 hours and 40 minutes of screen on time from a 3000 milliamp battery powering a 6.2 inch of full HD plus. This is outstanding performance. If you're gonna be the kind of person who is like going to work in the office, you got Wi-Fi, you come back home driving, or the commute to the train, the occasional 4G here and there, most likely you're gonna have around 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Once again, this included, like I said, 2.5 hours of Facebooking, Messenger, heavy browsing sessions, 10 minutes for mapping as well, photos, Instagram, Google News, you name it, YouTubing, everything. And the phone has been fantastic so far. Here I was able to achieve 3 hours and 40 minutes, once again because I was mostly out and about. And when you're out and about, or you're using heavily like video messaging as well, I was using video messaging on the Messenger. So every time you use video, obviously it will consume more battery life. In general, I find the G7 Plus a very strong, solid battery life phone. Despite me putting the screen brightness all the way up using on Wi-Fi, I was easily able to get 6 hours of screen time on multiple occasions. However, if you have a mixed usage like Wi-Fi and 4G both, you're gonna get around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. But from my end, it's a big tick. It's a solid battery life phone, very unexpected for, like I said, for a 3000 milliamp battery, but well done Motorola, well done to optimizations, and well done to everything else, along with a nice touch from Qualcomm Snapdragon 636. Guys, if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And like always, please subscribe as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.